Needless to say, I didn't want to make this kind of video. Wasn't even sure if I wanted to make one. Still kind of at a loss after last night. I didn't sleep too well. Just playing over and over in my head what could have been done differently, and just having a hard time coming up with answers. I mean, I come up with them, and then I come to the realization that it doesn't really matter because nothing ever changes. What's done is done. We can't change it. Props to Kansas City. They made the plays down the stretch, and we didn't. And that's the difference, and that's why you win the Super Bowl and why we didn't. This was a Super Bowl where there was a lot of ebb and flows of emotion for me. I felt like this could have got away from us early. Coming out and scoring a field goal and then them coming right back with a touchdown. I had a feeling like we could get boat raced early. That didn't happen. Our defense clamped down. We gave up a lot of underneath stuff, but we didn't give up the big play. But what it comes down to really in the end is that in the fourth quarter, we abandoned what was working and instead threw it more than we ran. And, right now I'm a little indifferent about how I feel about Jimmy Garoppolo. I've seen him do it. I've seen him make plays. I've seen him be clutch. So it's not a question of whether I think he can perform. Maybe it's a question of whether I think he can perform on the biggest stage. I don't really know. Right now, I don't have anything good to go on. I think he's a good quarterback. But at this point, I can't say he's elite, which sucks. But that's just the truth of it. And the truth hurts and it stings. But that's what it is right now. You got to go and do what got you to the dance. And I feel like the 49ers should have ran the ball more. It's just, it's really hard for me to articulate how I feel because, I try to look at things and put them in perspective of life and how it doesn't really matter. Our lives aren't affected whether we win or lose. But the fact of the matter is we invest a lot of time as fans, mentally and emotionally, through the season. And then to have it end in the Super Bowl is probably one of the worst feelings you can have. It's different when we don't even make the playoffs, so we're not competitive, or we have a season where it's like we show promise and we have the draft to look forward to and all that stuff. But when you actually get to the big dance and don't win, it's almost worse than not making the playoffs at all. I was telling that to my brother last night. I said it's worse to get to the Super Bowl and lose it than to not even sniff the playoffs or just have absolutely zero chance of doing anything during the season. And that's what we're going to have to live with in the offseason. We're going to have to question Kyle Shanahan and his ability to call plays down the stretch in the Super Bowl. When asked about it after the game, he said he doesn't regret calling more pass plays, which is, the guy's got to stand by what he does. You're not going to have him backpedaling. You would expect nothing less, right? Jimmy Garoppolo definitely missed some throws. He was not accurate down the stretch. But it's not all on him. I think the pass protection was bad, was leaky at best. And Jimmy took some shots big time. I thought the officiating... I'm not one of those people that blame officials unless it's like an egregious penalty. It has to be like really egregious to where it changes the outcome of a game, say like the Saints and the Rams NFC Championship game. But there was definitely some questionable calls. I think the offensive pass interference early on was the right call, unfortunately. He did extend his arm. I don't even know if he needed to. That's doesn't really matter at this point. It's neither here or there. The Niners got away with the delay of game, so you could say that. And then Kansas City didn't get called for an offsides. You could say that. But to blame the officials is just kind of me. It's a cop-out. I feel like we had our opportunities. You're up 10 points in the fourth quarter. You got to find a way to close it out. You let Kansas City hang around. You know they're the type of team that lives off the big play, and they were unfortunately they got one and they got us good. And then the touchdown at the end was just kind of, to me, it was like a garbage touchdown. I felt like our guys were gassed and a little bit disheartened at that point, and I felt like the lack of effort on that last touchdown run by Kansas City, our effort was pretty poor. But I don't know, man. This is probably the most garbled video I've made. I'm not really in any direction right now. I'm not stating any stats or anything. It's just my raw reaction. I had a night to sleep on it, or at least partially sleep on it. I didn't sleep too well. You know, the older I get, I felt like these type of things wouldn't bother me, but they bother me more now that I'm old, because I realize that how much time is invested and put into your team and following them all year, and then to have them not pull it out, it's not that it feels like a waste of time, but it's like to put all that into it and get so emotionally invested and to not have it turn out to be the way that you wanted. It sucks. It's almost like a relationship that you put a lot of work into, and then the person just decides they don't want to be with you anymore. Kind of that same feeling. It's like you kind of feel like it was all for nothing. But it was a successful year, but it wasn't the year that if you had to ask, anybody that played on that team, they would consider, a failure. Honestly, I mean, I would. No one expected us to be at this point, but the fact is we didn't capitalize. Kansas City did. Kansas City made more plays in the fourth quarter. We did not, and they deserve to win, and we don't. And there's no guarantee we'll be here next year. That's why I made it in one of my other videos. I said that, you got to capitalize when you have the chance. And there's no guarantee you're going to be back. So the 49ers are going to have to live with this one in the offseason. They got some tough decisions to make as far as free agents and who's coming and who's going. And then as far as the draft goes, we don't have a lot of picks, so we got to make good on them. And hopefully Trent Taylor and Jalen Hurd coming back next year will add something to that wide receiver core that we didn't have this year. And who knows, maybe Jimmy will be better for it. But that's pretty much it for me. Like I said, congratulate Kansas City. They deserved it. And I just got to sit and think on this one for a bit, let it marinate for a bit in my mind. And I'll probably make another video kind of talking about what this offseason is going to bring. I have to look into some things like free agency and contract type stuff, and I'll kind of post a video on like what I think the Niners might do in the offseason. And then I might go dark for a while and then show up around free agency and the draft, and we'll go from there. But this is going to be an offseason that I'm actually looking forward to, because after losing the Super Bowl, I need a little time away. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. I hope everybody has a good day as possible with the 49ers losing the Super Bowl. And, yeah, that's going to do it for me. See ya.